All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, and of course, we just finished with Week 9 in the NFL. So, of course, now it's time to start thinking about Week 10, go over our Week 10 NFL pick'em, and, see what we have for this week. Of course, last week we went 10-4, getting the Saints game wrong, sadly. We got the Seahawks game wrong. I believe we had a couple other games. The two other games I can't really remember. It was the Baltimore getting upset. So we could have gone 11-3 if we didn't think there was going to be an upset by the Colts, whose offense is kind of abysmal. That's actually a pretty good lead-in because, of course, Thursday Night Football. But so we're going to do our Week 10, of course. We're 88-44-1 on the picks overall this year. Fairly solid record, picking over 65%. It's 66.6, kind of a bad omen. But hopefully this week we can get to some extra games, do a little bit better, and get past that 66%. So here are the bye weeks for Week 10. The New York Jets, Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys, and Falcons. There's no Falcons. We don't have to worry about not picking the Falcons this week. The Cowboys get a week to rejuvenate. The Chiefs just get some time off. And the Jets, heartbreaking loss last night for them. They played really good against the Patriots, but they ended up choking away that lead. And but still, they played great. I will say, I was surprised. Let's go to week. Excuse me. There's the burp. Everybody enjoys those at the beginning. Let's go ahead and go to Thursday Night Football. And it is going to be the Colts at 5-3, traveling to Tennessee to play the Titans at 6-2. The Titans are 1.5-point favorites with an over/under of 48.5. I don't really use the lines to determine my picks. I don't really spread pick or anything like that. I include the lines because people always ask for them. So I put those in there, and I kind of like to see who's the favorite, who isn't, based on that. But other than that, I don't really use these. These are there for fun. They're from FanDuel, and one of them's from the William Hill Sportsbook. So we get the lines as good as we can. So anyway, to this game, I like the Titans in this one, simply because I don't know if I like the Colts on a short week. I like the Titans on a short week. They seem to be able to play very well with not a lot of practice time. That doesn't seem to influence them. They almost seem like they play better with the way they handled the Bills after that weird time off when they just kind of weren't allowed to do anything. I like the way that they responded to that game. I haven't really been impressed by the Colts this year. They kind of let me down last week, and it seems like every time I pick them, they lose. They could have actually beaten the Ravens in that game had their defense not become completely worn out by the end of that game, having to be on the field so much because Rivers was going really quickly with the ball. The Colts offense really couldn't get anything going against the Ravens, and that sort of seems to be the fault of Phillip Rivers. I don't know, maybe the Ravens defense just played a very, very good game, but the Colts defense held them in that game as long as they could, and really till the end. They only gave up, I think, 24 points. So, the Colts defense will keep them in this game, but again, I think it's going to be a situation where the Colts defense is tired by the end of the game. They get gassed out because of how ineffective their offense is going to be, and I also think that Desmond King is going to make a big impact in this game. Both of the former Charger and the former Charger at quarterback for the Colts. I think he knows some tendencies, might get a pick in this game, maybe a 6, and a pick 6 anyway. So I like the Titans in this one. I just don't really like the Colts offense on a short week with not a lot of time to prepare. They're already pretty limited on offense with Phillip Rivers. Now they have less time to prepare for a pretty dangerous opponent sometimes. I like the Titans to win this divisional matchup, especially, at home, short week, Thursday night, home team's usually pretty solid pick. But the Colts will keep it close, so I think 28-21, but give me the Titans in that one. So that's what I like. Let's go to 1 o'clock. There's only 5 1 o'clock games, and then six 4 o'clock. So there's less 1 o'clocks. This game this is kind of a battle for first place in the division, I guess. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the New York Giants. The Eagles are 3-4-1. The Giants are 2-7. The Eagles are 3.5-point favorites with an over/under of 44.5. I like the Eagles to win this game. I think the Eagles are getting healthy. They're slowly coming back to form and slowly, getting guys back. That should help them. They're coming off a bye, so they have that extra week of preparation, an extra week to get some of the bruises out. So they're going to be a little bit healthier. And I think the Giants have a very underrated defense, which is why I think this is going to be a close game. I don't really trust the Giants offense. They've really only won their games against Washington this year. And, I know it was kind of a fluky touchdown to make it a 23-20 game at the end. But I do think if the Giants are holding a very one-score lead late against the Eagles, who seem to play the Eagles play very well in the last 7 minutes of every game. If that's the case, the Eagles will come back, and that's what I kind of have. I have it as like a 20-17 game going into the fourth quarter, and then the Eagles flip it and take the lead and then hold the lead. That seems to be the Eagles' MO. Plus, the Eagles are going to obliterate the offensive line issues the Giants have. The Eagles can get after the quarterback. Fletcher Cox having a great year. I think the Eagles are in the top 5 for sacks this year, at least top 5 for pressures. So I really do like the Eagles in this one. It seems like the Eagles, since they're a little bit healthier, off a bye, they have the tendency to play very well at the end of games when other teams may not be playing as sharp as they are. I like the Eagles in this one, 24-20. But it should be a good game. There's not much to say here. The Jaguars, 1-7, travel to Green Bay to take on the 6-2 Packers. The Packers are 14-point favorites with an over-under of 52. Hilarious line, and I say the Packers win about 38-20. If the Lions were able to obliterate these Jacksonville Jaguars, God only knows what the Packers are going to do. May God have mercy on the soul of the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, a game nobody really cares about except me and football team fans. The Washington football team, 2-6, travels to Detroit to take on the 3-5 Lions. Lions are 4-point favorites with an over-under of 46.5. I have the Lions winning 35-28. I'm not going to bore you with a big in-depth analysis of two last-place teams duking it out for, I don't know what they're duking it out for, but just something. I think the Lions have a decent offense, and I don't know if the football team can match it. This could be a weird shootout where it's like 35-28. I don't know. Who cares? I got the Lions winning, though. I mean, I hate to shit on the Lions because I do like the Lions, but it's at the same point, it's like, I mean, I don't even know if Stafford's going to be playing because he got out with that injury. I don't know what's going on. Detroit should win this because Detroit does play bad teams pretty well. See the Jaguars game that Detroit had. So I like Detroit to win. Hopefully they do. Alex Smith, you know. All right, well, this should be an interesting game. The Houston Texans take on the Cleveland Browns. The Houston Texans are 2-6. The Cleveland Browns are 5-3. The Browns are 3-point favorites with an over-under of 53.5. I see a lot of people taking the Texans in this game. I just have to remind you that I don't think the Texans play very good rush defense. And Nick Chubb is back this game. They have Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. So they have their running game back. So I think that's going to make this a big plus for them. So I would imagine that play action is going to start becoming more of a factor even without Odell. They're coming off a bye. I don't know, man. I'm sure Baker's going to be playing. Like, I have not liked what I've seen out of the Texans this year. They struggle beat a bad Jaguars team. So I don't know, man. It's just the Texans are so incomplete this year. The offensive line is bad. The running game is non-existent. They don't really have a defense. Cleveland should win this game via the running game. Really, they could go for 200 plus rush yards in this one with Chubb back. And then here we have a pretty good game, actually. This is probably a better game than what the Panthers record indicates we're going to get, I think. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6-3, embarrassing loss. They're coming off of take on the Carolina Panthers, a very good loss, I would say. There's two kinds of losses. The Panthers are 3-6. The Bucs are 6-point favorites with an over-under of 50.5. I like the Bucs to win this game simply because I don't like the Panthers defense. It's porous, it can blow games, and that's kind of what happened against the Chiefs. We've seen that bad lack of a seasoned veteran-led defense kind of come back to strike and bite the Panthers again, which they could have had a crazy upset over the Chiefs, but their defense eroded. Their offense is great, I would say, in Carolina. Getting McCaffrey back adds so many layers of dimensions to it. I love the Panthers offense, love what they've been doing on that side of the ball. They're still building the defense, and I think playing a team like a Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay is a problem for Carolina because Tom is a kind of quarterback you got to put pressures on to kind of beat him and to kind of get in his head and kind of disrupt the flow of his offenses. Carolina is not a pressure put on team. I think they have like 9 or 10 sacks this year. They're last in the league in that, I believe. They're not a put big pressure on you and put pressure on the quarterback team. They haven't been able to do that this year. And I think that's what's going to tilt this game in the Buccaneers' favor. By not putting the right amount of pressure on Tom, you're going to make it easier for him to dissect and work on that weak secondary, or that young secondary rather. So I like Tampa in this one, just because it seems like this is a pretty tailor-made game for Tom Brady in terms of the way the Panthers defense is structured. So give me the Bucs over the Panthers, 31-28. And then we have a pretty bad game. It's not even a shot at Los Angeles Chargers. 2-6 take on the Miami Dolphins, 5-3. The Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites with an over-under of 48. I think the Chargers aren't a bad young football team, but that's exactly what they are. They're a young football team, much like the Dolphins, who are a young team. It seems like the difference here is the coaching. And I think the Dolphins are much better coached than the Chargers. I think Flores is a little bit better of a coach than Flynn. And I think that's going to be the ultimate determiner of this game. You have two young rookie quarterbacks dueling. You have two decent defenses going at each other. I would say Miami has a much better defense than the Chargers. And that's also going to be a bit of a factor. How is the young Justin Herbert going to handle this tenacious Miami defense? And I think coaching and the Miami defense flip this game to the Dolphins. Dolphins all day, 28-24. Chargers are a good young team, though. That's going to be fun in a couple years. I don't know. This game seems like it should be closer than it is because the Broncos have a better record than what they are, like what it indicates anyway, right? So the Broncos 3-5 head to Vegas to take on the Raiders 5-3. The Raiders are 5.5-point favorites with an over/under of 51. I believe I said I would take the home team in either one of these games because I do think they're weirdly even. With the way that the Raiders have been playing, they're sort of my dark horse team this year. They've been playing well on defense, well on defense. Derek Carr has been playing pretty good this year, I would say. Better than what I think people thought he could play at. I do like the Raiders in this game. I don't really like the way the Broncos have been playing. Their defense has been kind of porous this year with the way they just got kind of lit up by Atlanta. I do think the Raiders are a better team right now than the Broncos due to whatever is going on with Denver, injuries, people opting out. That was a big hit for them. I understand it. The same thing's going on in New England. I understand opting out. I understand players being injured and just a whole bunch of crap happening and ruining what could have been a good season. So give me the Raiders in this one. I think they're a better defensive team. I think they're going to struggle. I think the Broncos are going to struggle with the Raiders defense. And I believe I gave the Broncos the win at home. So give me the Raiders at home. Bills and Cardinals. The Buffalo Bills 7-2 take on the Arizona Cardinals 5-3. This game is going to be played in Arizona. The Cardinals are 2-point favorites with an over/under of 56. With what they just did to Seattle, I'm going to give the Bills a little bit of respect. I know it's the Seattle defense is not that good. Blah blah blah. I don't really care. They did force 5 turnovers out of the league MVP. Basically, I think they picked him 2-3 times and they forced a few fumbles. So I'm very impressed by that. I think they're going to do something similar to the Arizona Cardinals. The Bills' defense isn't that good, so I think the Cardinals stick around in this game. But I do think the Bills force a lot of turnovers in this game, like 3+, because, I've seen Kyler Murray turn the ball over a few times this year, especially against, like, the Lions. And the Bills can force some turnovers with the way that they just played against the Seahawks. Their defense is playing a little better with Trey White being back. So there could be a few more things happening in this game where I think the Bills get a lucky break and maybe get a pick 6 or something with Trey White or somebody like that. So this should be one hell of a game to watch, the Bills and the Cardinals, but I do think the Bills wind up taking it due to what seems to be their defense finally waking up a little bit against the Seahawks. Though they almost blew it, 10-point win with 5 turnovers, a little sad, but hey, you won the game, so give me the Bills. Arizona's a good team, don't get me wrong. This game, probably not much to say here. The 49ers take on the New Orleans Saints. The 49ers are 4-5 and one of the most injury-riddled teams I've ever seen in football. Despite that, they still are competitive and playing fairly well. And then we have the New Orleans Saints that are 6-2. They just destroyed the goddamn Buccaneers. The Saints are 9.5-point favorites with an over/under of 49.5. I like the Saints to win this game. Should they actually have had Jimmy G, their running back game, their defense, I would have gone Saints or 49ers, 100% 49ers. If this would have been last year, with the full strength 49ers, I like the 49ers more than I like the Saints. But the Saints are pretty healthy right now, so give me the Saints over the 49ers. Mismatch game right now. The Seattle Seahawks take on the Los Angeles Rams, 6-2 versus 5-3. The Rams are 2-point favorites with an over/under of 55.5. This is going to be a high-scoring game. I think defenses will be damned, and then it's going to come down to how does Seattle respond to a loss. It seems like they respond. I think they are going to respond very, very well. I think Wilson responds after a very, very poor game very strongly here. I think the Seahawks don't really turn the ball over. There's better control of it. Their offense plays a little more short up. Their defense might be a little bit more stout. They're still going to get tore up by the Rams because it seems like they have problems getting pressures. And Jared Goff with no pressure is a pretty decent quarterback. So expect a high-scoring shootout type game like it was with Buffalo. 44-34 is still a shootout. And this should be something similar to that. But I think Seattle rebounds from an ugly loss and wins against the Rams, who seem to only be able to win against like NFC West or NFC East teams and like one other team. It's not exactly like the Rams are doing great this year. So let's move on. We have, whatever. The Pittsburgh Steelers 8-0 take on the Cincinnati Bengals 2-5-1. The Steelers are 7.5-point favorites with an over/under of 47.5. Like what Joe Burrow's doing. I like the way the Bengals are building up this young, nice little team. But no, the Steelers are going to murder them. Even if Big Ben doesn't play, this is not going to happen. Give me the Steelers over the Bengals all day, 34-28. This won't be very close. I don't even think it's going to be this close. I might be being disrespectful to the Steelers. I think I just really like what Burrow's doing in Cincinnati. So 34-28. Sunday Night Football. All right, so we all know what is Sunday night. It's the Ravens and the Patriots. It's Ravens 6-2 at the Patriots 3-5. Now, all week you will hear me say the Patriots are going to beat the Ravens. But since this is technically putting my money where my mouth is, if I was to be betting or gambling in any type of way, this is how I view this game. I have somebody else winning. So another team is 7-point favorites with an over/under of 43.5. My team's inability to stop the run and tackle might be the reason we lose this game. And our lack of physicality on our defense is going to be an issue. And that's why I think the other team wins 27-21. Let's go to Monday Night Football. This is the one where I have to explain myself a little bit. Yeah, I picked the Ravens to beat us, okay? Funny. I don't really like to pick us to lose. But you'll never hear me say that the rest of the week. So anyway, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears in a boring Monday Night Football game. A division matchup is always interesting, I guess, at least. The Vikings 3-5, the Bears 5-4. All right, normally I would have picked the Vikings to win this game if it was 1 o'clock. But here's some fun numbers. This is why I picked the Bears. This is like numbers. Kirk Cousins, 0-9 on Monday Night Football, right? He's never won on Monday Night Football, so to keep that in mind. He's 0-3 versus the Bears in Chicago since signing with the Vikings in 2017. Never won in Chicago. So he's 0-9, never won in Chicago. And what else is there? Dalvin Cook against the Bears only averages like 30 yards per game, I read. Like, there is so many weird statistics why the Bears are going to beat the Vikings in this game that it just makes sense to pick the Bears. They seem to be a decent primetime team. It's not going to be high scoring. And then what the Bears do is they sell out to stop Dalvin Cook, and they're going to make Kirk Cousins on the primetime stage try to beat them. Doesn't ever happen, really. That's how the Bears seem to be able to beat this guy. And I don't know, man. It's just I don't like primetime Kirk Cousins. So I'm going to go Bears in the upset, 20-17. This is my upset of the week because the Vikings are favorites, so whatever. Give me the Bears. 20-17, despite their bad offense, despite it all, give me the Bears. Just because 0-9, 0-3, dude, he just doesn't win in these situations. This is a bad situation for the Vikings. They don't win here. Literally, they just don't. They're 0-9 and then 0-3. Like, it's just bad winning. All right, so here's my pick'em record. We went 10-4 last week. Very good. Saved the stuff. 88-44-1. Not a bad pick'em record. So we rebounded from an ugly, terrible week 9 and went 7-7, or week 8 where we went 7-7, week 9 10-4. This week 14-0 is hopefully it's about to happen. Gonna have a perfect week. So that's why. Make sure you leave your picks down below. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. I respond to every single comment people leave. You can check. I have a pretty good history of doing that. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're gonna hit 5,000 subs very soon, which is a pretty crazy milestone to go from 1,000 to 5,000, and then 10,000. We're hitting a major milestone in my opinion, so that's going to be very cool. And I appreciate you all very much for subscribing, watching the videos, watching the streams. The channel's doing well. I appreciate you all so much. So leave your thoughts down below. Leave a like, subscribe, and all that. We're getting close. The channel's booming, and it's largely in thanks to you guys. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video today. So week 10, here we go. We're getting through it. Got 7 weeks left after this week, so let me know how your pick'em's doing. Peace out. Have a good rest of your day. Go Patriots. Go Lions. Get some dubs this week. And as Winston say, no, let's not get some dubs. You got to eat the dubs. Have a good one.